Today I'm going to go over all of the nonfiction or the things we learned about whales in the book, The Wild Whale Watch. Whales are mammals just like us. They have lungs to breathe and need oxygen from the air. They give birth to live young inside their mom's body, and they feed their babies milk. There are more than 75 different kinds of whales in the world, and out of those 75 different kinds, they are broken up into two different types. The first type is toothed whales. The second type is baleen. Toothed whales have teeth. Baleen whales have no teeth. Instead of teeth, they have baleen, which looks like strips of almost like what an accordion. It opens and shuts and lets food in. Here are some of the whales that are toothed whales: orca, dolphins, porpoises, sperm whales, and narwhals. All toothed whales, the males are larger than the females, and they have one blowhole on the top of their head to breathe. Baleen whales have two blowholes on the top. Each bite that the baleen lets in, it lets in 1 million or more tiny fish. It acts like a strainer. It only lets food in and the water comes out. Some examples of baleen whales are humpback, right whales, fin or razorback whales. The second largest animals in the world are the razorback whales. Here is a diagram of a whale. They will either have teeth or baleen. They'll have one or two blowholes, and that's what they have to use to come up to get air to breathe because they're mammals. And you might see some mist or spray come out. Sometimes scientists and people can tell what kind of whales they are just by seeing the spray. Some of the whales will have a dorsal fin. They will have a tail, and it's with flukes, and there's usually some type of indentation in the middle, and they'll have some flippers to help them swim and to keep them steering correctly. Whales live all over the world. The largest animal on Earth is a whale. It's a blue whale. It's longer than 6 elephants, and anyone who's interested in dinosaurs, it weighed more than a Seismosaurus. We learned a lot about humpback whales in this story because they live in the Atlantic waters around us. They are called winged New Englanders because of their white flippers. They grow to be about 45 feet long, a little smaller than the big blue whale. Their tongues can weigh 2 tons. Can you believe it? That's almost 4,000 pounds. They have a long life too. They can live up to be 50 years old. And if you could count the layers of wax inside their ears, you could find exactly how old it is. I wouldn't want to do that, would you? That's kind of yucky. They get its name from the way that it curves its back when it gets ready to make a dive, almost like a hump. The whale's tail. I drew a little bit of a diagram. This is a notch in between, and this is the flukes. We saw that in the bigger diagram on the first page. Whales swim by pushing the flukes up and down in the water and then wiggling their whole body. Their flippers help them steer, and the dorsal fin helps whales stay right side up. But not all whales will have a dorsal fin. This is very important. Each kind of whale has different shaped flippers, flukes, and fins. Another vocabulary word that we learned in the book was plankton. Plankton is a mixture of tiny plants and animals found in the ocean. They're food for a lot of the whales. We also learned about the orca, or the killer whale. Orcas are black and white. They are great acrobats. So a lot of parks will use those type of whales to perform tricks. So if you've ever been to SeaWorld, they would have orcas probably that would do tricks for you. They are fierce hunters. They eat fish, seals, birds, squids, turtles, and sometimes they might even eat the young of other whales. How sad. But one important thing is they're not known to attack humans. And last, we learned a little bit more about the humpback whale. Sorry, I have to move the charts. I don't have my easel here. Humpback whales migrate in the winter. They go from the cold North Atlantic and they go where the water is warmer down in the southern part of Atlantic Ocean. A lot of birds do the same thing. When they migrate to the warmer waters, they mate and they have their babies. They usually just have one baby every year or whenever they migrate. In the spring, they swim back north with their baby whales. So I'm thinking this book took place in the spring because there were some baby whales out in the ocean. The humpback whales swim very slow. They only go about 3 miles an hour, but they travel 3,000 miles in 1 month. So that's almost 100 miles a day. Another vocabulary word that we learned, and you all knew this already, but I'm going to say it anyway, is what blubber is. Blubber is a layer of fat. It keeps whales warm, and whales live off their blubber when it's migrating. They don't have time to find food, they eat off their blubber. Whales can also make sounds. That means they can communicate. They moan, they squeak, they bleat, they bark, they squeal, and they sing. The humpback male makes the most complicated sounds of all the whales in the world. Humpback babies are called calves. The mother is called a cow. And just like we mentioned earlier, she only has one calf at a time. They are about 14 feet long when they're born. That's kind of long. They drink 100 pounds of their mom's milk per day. The calf stays with their mom for a year to a year and a half. They instinctively know not to breathe until their blowhole is out of the water. They don't even have to be taught that. They automatically know. Another vocabulary word that we learned is lop-tailing. Lop-tailing is when a whale slaps its tail against the water over and over again. It's a way that they can communicate with their pod. Pod is another vocabulary word. It's a group of whales. It's like their extended family. There can be 10 or up to 1,000 whales in a pod. And then we learned about the most endangered whale of all, the right whale. Very uncommon to see. There's less than 500 in the Northern Atlantic Ocean. And the reason why they're endangered is because they were hunted for their blubber, and they used the blubber for food and oil. And they were also hunted for their baleen. And they used the baleen for sleds, spears, and other tools. I guess they really were the right whale to hunt. Some other facts about right whales that we learned: they can be as long as 50 feet. That's about 6 cars. Almost half of their weight is their blubber, which is their fat. And they swim in large pods or groups. I hope you enjoyed taking this field trip with Miss Frizzle in her class. Now the last part of the book is each of the 8 kids that went on the field trip wrote about one of the whales in the world. They told some facts about whales. Here were the facts, the whales that they wrote about. So there are 8 different whales, and each one of the 8 children did a little report on them. The blue whale, the bowhead whale, it might be bowhead, I'm not exactly sure. gray whale, sperm whale, the bottlenose dolphin, or maybe you want to tell about porpoises because dolphins are members of the porpoise family, minke whale, beluga whale, and narwhal. And I put a little horn there because narwhals have horns. Here is an example of what the kids did. I don't want to say too much because you might want to choose one of these whales when you do your project. And the last part of the book was sponsoring a whale. You, your family, and if we were in school, maybe our class might be able to sponsor a whale like Miss Frizzle's class did. Remember they adopted Angel? On the next page of this book, and I will copy it for you, there are 4 different organizations that will give you some information on sponsoring a whale. If you're thinking about sponsoring a whale, remember to make sure you have an adult make the call for you. 2 of the companies are right here in the Northeast. One right in Boston, the other up in Maine. The other 2 are in the West Coast, one in Hawaii and one in the state of Washington. If you're interested, you may contact one of these organizations and find out some more information. Happy whale watching. Here are the 4 places that you can adopt. There's Adopt a Finback Whale, and that's in Maine. Adopt a Whale, a Humpback Whale, and that's in Hawaii. Remember, that's where Alice was living for a little bit. Orca Adoption Program, and that's on Friday Harbor, Washington. And here's the one right in Boston, the Right Whale Adoption Program, right here in our capital of Boston. So I will put this and these in the folder, and you might want to choose one of these when we tell you a little bit about the project. Next week, I'm going to read about sharks, another type of animal that lives in the water, and maybe you want to pick a shark, or maybe some of the other interesting creatures that live in the ocean. Attached to this, I'm going to have 3 links that you might want to try. One of the links is going to have a whale song that you might want to listen to by Rafi, one of my favorite kids singers. I know you know what this one is, Baby Beluga. There's going to be an art project you might want to do using paper plates, and it's going to show you how to make a whale with paper plates. And there is a video showing how the crats learn and teach you about whales. So if you're interested in making a whale, listening to a song about whales, you might even want to make the whale into a puppet and sing the song, or maybe you'll just want to watch the crats and see if they teach you anything else about whales. Hopefully you want to try one of those. Tomorrow, to wrap up whales, we're going to do a story map on the fiction part of the book. We're going to list the characters, the problem, the solution, the setting, the title, and the author. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.